Hey, don't forget, we'll see you this Saturday in Studio City doing a stand-up show. Adam Ferrara from Rescue 911 will be on. He's hilarious. We'll also have other comedians. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets. This Saturday, Studio City, Two Roads Theater, only 60 tickets. That's all it's a very tiny, intimate theater. See you there, Studio City, 7:30 p.m. start on Saturday, this Saturday, February 1st, right?
Yes.
February 1st, this Saturday.
7:30.
7:30. 7:30 show. I'll see you there. Plus, we have our Andrew does an amazing, I don't want to even call it violin. What would you call it? It is a violin, but he plays a violin like I've never heard someone play.
Yeah, Andrew Frankel actually was doing a live stream today on YouTube with
Oh,
his
you're
music.
kidding.
Yeah, it was great.
He's amazing. He gets the crowd.
We're very
goes,
lucky.
The crowd goes nuts for him. So he's always there. He opens the show, and then I come right out. You don't even have to wait. I come right out. Anyway, and then we play the game. Who came from the farthest? That's always a fun game. Okay, so we'll see you this Saturday, February 1st, 7:30 p.m. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. The Two Roads Theater, the tiny theater. See you there. So remember the drones that were all over the East Coast in New Jersey? Guess where they came from? Guess where they came from? They came from the United States. They didn't come from China. They didn't come from Iran. And guess who knew about it? You want to know who knew about it? The Biden administration, the FAA, everybody, the whole goddamn government knew about it. And they were lying to you. How do I know? Because here's Trump's new press secretary to talk about it.
And before I turn to questions, I do have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office. From President Trump directly, an update on the New Jersey drones.
When she says New Jersey drones, she's not referring to Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. Okay, just let you know. Okay, so the New Jersey drones. That sounds like a band, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons.
What?
Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy.
So,
wow.
When you say this was not the enemy, so the drones were from our own government, and I don't know if you've seen who's the enemy of the people, but it's our own government.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you didn't watch the JFK hearing today, but our own government has turned on us because they've been captured. So to say that they're not the enemy, you mean they're not a foreign enemy. They were an internal enemy. And the fact that they were scaring the hell out of everybody in the United States on purpose, and they knew they were doing it. The FAA knew they were doing it, which, you know what that means? That means that the Biden administration knew it. And they weren't telling you. So once again, the biggest purveyors of lies and misinformation is the government. Second is the corporate media. And a distant third are randos on social media. Just so you know. And by the way, Kurt's not here today because he's doing Joe Rogan. Trump says drones over New Jersey were not the enemy. Okay. If you haven't seen the way the government has been treating us lately, they've been treating us like they are the enemy. President Trump said Tuesday that the drone sightings over New Jersey late last year were either authorized by the FAA or were from hobbyists and enthusiasts. White House press secretary, we just saw her. So that for research, they were flying the drones in the area for research.
What research?
Why wouldn't they just? What research would that be exactly? Researching whether or not you can fake an alien invasion using drones that you can get on Amazon? You mean that kind of thing? What do you mean they're doing? Why couldn't you just? So you were trying to research if you could scare the shit out of people.
Worked.
There were mayors of cities. There were sitting senators who were scared and wanted answers, and they didn't get the answer. But now, Trump gets elected, and 5 seconds later, we find out that they knew about the drones all along. But Trump is the liar. Just keep that in mind. He's the only liar in all of Washington, D.C. He's the only liar in the country. The drone phenomena had captured the attention of the American public in late November and December as sightings skyrocketed in the state and elsewhere in the country, primarily along the East Coast. The drones were also reported near sensitive military sites, raising concerns about national security. So you're telling me that our secret military drones were flying over our secret military facilities? How could that possibly be possible? Lawmakers and public officials began questioning whether a foreign adversary was involved or if the Biden administration was holding back information. I thought it was they were trying to blame it on either China or Iran or both, so we could, spend another $1 trillion on bombs and start another war. That's what I thought that was. What do you think it was? Now we know they were lying to us about it. They knew all along. The FAA sanctioned those flights. Trump himself, who was then president-elect, also said he was concerned about the drones and promised to look into it. No, what I remember Trump saying is that the government knows exactly where these drones are coming from and where they're going. That's what Trump said. He also said he was concerned and he was going to look into it, but he also said, because I saw him say it, that the government knows exactly where these drones are coming from and where they're going. On Inauguration Day, he told reporters he would inquire into the matter. He already said that the Biden administration knew exactly where they were coming from and where they were going. So that's the Biden administration. So when the Biden administration is holding back information, it's because they're lying. When Joe Biden himself holds back information, it's because it's trapped in the part of his brain that has police tape around it. And just like Malibu, they don't allow him entrance. So Biden administration officials had insisted that the drones were not from foreign adversaries and said the FBI had identified only a small number of leads from thousands of reported sightings. But they knew the FAA had already. Many of the drones were lawfully operated or mistaken for planes and other aerial objects. The Biden administration did say there could be improvements to identify and counter any drone threats. The FAA knew about all of them. Jay Stewart says Trump reveals truth about the drones UAP UFO phenomenon in New Jersey. The drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized. They were not only new, they authorized them. They were authorized by the FAA. Why didn't Biden just say so?
Why didn't they immediately tell you that the FAA approved it?
Why? Why did they want everybody crapping their pants? Why? What is the purpose of that? I think the White House is operating on a truth they've been given. I think that the information she has been given is inaccurate. What? So who said that? General Blaine Holt doesn't trust the White House's explanation of the mystery drones and thinks that people are misinforming President Trump. Really? Is it just me, or does this guy look like he's waiting for a UFO so he can hitch a ride home?
I thought he looked like Nosferatu.
So this guy, if you want to know who he is, he's a retired brigadier general who served as the deputy United States military representative to NATO. So he's corrupt. He's a corrupt deep state insider liar.
The White House telling us the truth?
I think the White House is operating off of a truth that they've been given. I find Carolyn Levin.
By the way, only an alien would still ask in 2025, is the White House telling us the truth? Boy, you're really not from around here, are you?
To be a woman of integrity and honor. And I think that the information that she's been given is inaccurate. I agree with Dr. Greer. I absolutely do not refute that there are extraterrestrials and that more will be coming out. However, what I will tell you is that the FAA can't produce the licenses, the Part 107 licenses for all of the drones that continue to fly over our skies this night. Some of them the size of RVs and cars. Wait a minute. The Chinese definitely have RV sized in their CH-10 and their...
So that's the deep state psychopath warmongering maniac who wants us to go to war with China. Why? Because I guarantee you he's getting paid by a defense contractor somewhere. Don't, whatever the White House says, believe me, it was China. So Joe Biden's White House and the U.S. military allowed Chinese car-sized drones for weeks to just fly over the United States without shooting them down. Really, after 9/11, the U.S. military just lets China fly car-sized drones over the United States. Really? That guy's a liar. That guy's a criminal, liar, and an enemy of the United States. That's what that guy is. And he looks like an alien. And he looks like an enemy of the United States. That's what your government is.
CH-7 series drones. So what we need to do is we need to dive into who's misinforming the president this early on in his administration. We need to route that out. We need to find out what's going on across this nation, because I'm going to tell you right now, Rob, it's just the tip of the iceberg, and it's part of something much bigger, and it's going to keep on, and it definitely involves earthly powers, not extraterrestrial ones. But out of respect, I will tell you, Dr. Greer is absolutely correct. We will learn more about our friends from other worlds. It's just...
thank you for being respectful. He's such a Boy Scout, this guy, with a shirt and tie. He's such a Boy Scout. The deputy secretary to NATO, the most corrosive, warmongering psychopaths in the world, which is just... NATO's just a money funneling organization for the military-industrial complex. That's all NATO is. And this guy was our representative to NATO. So that guy's a crook.
This world is the one that's over our skies.
And I don't laugh. I'm in on this story. Dr. Greer, John Ratcliffe.
So Mark Pearson says President Trump's statement on the drones raises more questions. If the FAA knew all along, so did the Department of Defense, the Department of Homeland Security, the CIA, the FBI. So why did they all lie? I don't know. Why'd they all lie about Russiagate? Why'd they all lie about Ukraine? Why'd they all lie about Syria? Why'd they all lie about COVID? Why'd they all lie? Were they trying to cause mass panic? To declare military law? Good question. We, the people, should be outraged that the government colluded to lie to us this way.
How's that not a crime?
It is. It is. So, and anybody trying to clean up this criminal government is going to be called a criminal, just like they did to RFK all day today over stuff.
Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Ellie, UK column news often reports on suspicious livestock culling ordered by the UK government. Thank you for that one, Ellie. Much appreciated. Rockfin. All right, let's see here. Where is my one more? Come here. Okay. A lot of windows, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of windows. Let's see here. My God, this sounds like the excuse to shut it all down again, and worse yet, destroy the food supply, or at least control it. Right, Melissa? Valuable genetics. They're exactly like Nazis. SS. Valuable genetics. Kurt, how much to buy the rights to ugly Americans? Sadukar. Thank you, Sadukar. Not sure what that means. All right. This is why we need to get over our petty differences, stop being distracted, and focus on what these actual Nazis are planning and doing. We need to prepare. SS. Exactly why Trump withdrew from the WHO. Reaper Sun. Bob Menendez got 11 years in jail for bribery of less than $400,000, while other politicians got hundreds of millions running free. It's because he is the first Dem stand up against the CCP, Obama, and Biden. Vivas. Interesting perspective on that one. And thank you very much for your generosity. This is the same mentality our culture already had, just taken up to the next level. The roots of the dysfunction go deep. To heal them, you need to go to the roots. SS, thank you. There was a sudden loss of 50 intelligence agents of CIA in China back in 2015. It was Hunter B with Obama, okay, giving Xi the list. Viva slurry, wow. We're not being heard, you think? The plan to silence us forever? How do people still not get it? What does it take for people to wake up to truth? SS. Hard lesson, right? Great show, as always. Thank you, Polly. Much appreciated for that positive comment. It's because they're in denial and don't want to face reality. SS. Who's in denial? Who doesn't want to face? I missed that one, SS. Okay, let's see here. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a show February 1st, this Saturday night, 7:30 at Two Roads Studio City. And we have a great show. Adam Ferrara will be on it, and other comics. Chris Keene, one of our friends of the show, and Jimmy Dore headlining the show. Jimmy hosts it. He comes out at the very beginning. And also we have our guest musician, Andrew Frankel, 7:30. You want to check out that stand-up show. It's this Saturday night, Studio City, Two Roads. Go to jimmydore.com. Check out our tour dates and click for tickets there, ladies and gentlemen. Back to Jim.
So I just want to remind everybody who are clutching their pearls over Donald Trump's initiative to get rid of criminal, illegal migrants in the United States. So this is from that. This has been the policy of Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi. Every Democrat said exactly what Trump is saying and is doing. They in fact, Barack Obama deported way more illegal immigrants than Donald Trump ever did in his term. Did you know that? Hundreds of illegal immigrant criminals arrested, hundreds more flown out of the United States by the military. Okay. And so now I'm going to, and I'm just bracing my liberal friends to come back with excuses. But Jimmy, where is America supposed to get all of our affordable crime now? So here we go. Here's what Barack Obama had to say when he was president.
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century.
So
what?
That's right. So if the Democrat standards were their own chins, they'd be Mitch McConnell. So of course there weren't. So did you remember the outrage when Obama was saying this? Of course not. It's Barack Obama. He's a person of color. When a person of color deports people, it's okay, unless that person of color is orange. Orange is the wrong color for us. And all my ex-Hollywood friends are going to look at this and go, "Oh, that's got to be a deep fake." He didn't really say that. And then their therapist is going to make a killing dealing with their shit. So, you want to hear it again?
Yes.
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century.
So the Democrats, they couldn't oppose Donald Trump on economic issues because the Democrats don't represent workers anymore. They represent Wall Street. And you can't represent Wall Street and represent workers. So they just represent Wall Street. And so they can't attack Donald Trump on economics. So what did they do? They invented Russiagate. And then they invented that he's a racist and he's anti-immigrant. Even though this is what they've been saying their whole careers. For the last 30 years, this is what Democrats have been saying. And everybody just memory hold that. Everybody memory hold that. Here's Hillary Clinton. First of all, look at this psychotic Nazi with her in. Oh, wait a minute. That's Hillary Clinton. That is Hillary Clinton. I'm sorry. I meant we must be taking her out of context. She must just be rehearsing for a Saturday Night Live sketch. So here's what she has to say. Remember when she used to say this about illegal immigration?
So I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone.
Oh.
If they
What?
If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
Sounds like a Trump rally. Sounds like a Trump rally.
Wow.
So, and if you show this clip to your shitlib friends, and they don't say, "Whoa, I had no idea. Wow, I'm sorry." If they don't say that, that's how you know you're dealing with the shitlib. And you may be open to compensation. There it is.
So I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone.
No questions asked. Which is what Trump and Homan are doing right now, because criminals have been flooding into this country. Legit criminals. Human traffickers, sex offenders, violent criminals, all kinds of them. And so that's who Homan is now targeting. Now, they're not just picking up violent criminals or criminals. They're also picking up people who aren't criminals but are here illegally. As Barack Obama said, we're going to catch you. But they're targeting criminals, legit criminals.
If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
What is different about what she's saying and what Barack Obama said and what's happening right now? Here is Bill Clinton.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace, as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
And so all the people screaming about how Donald Trump is some special kind of anti-immigrant president are just morons. They don't know it. They've memory holed all this. They don't know anything because they watch TV news. TV news, which is owned by the billionaire class that hates them. But they don't know that because they have gay people. The billionaire class who hates them hires gay people and nerds to give you the nerd news, and they would never lie to me. Oh no, I've had literal people tell me after they told me that Ukraine, I'm enjoying watching Ukraine kick Putin's ass all over. And I'm like, whoa, where are you getting your information? Oh, I'm a news junkie. Yeah, watching corporate news and reading the New York Times that's a good term for it, junkie, because if you try to take away their source, they'll cut you. Because that's not news. TV news, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Boston Globe, that's not news. Those are propaganda outlets that, under the guise of news, are manipulating you. They're what are they doing? They're manufacturing consent. That's what the news is there for. It's not there. So I cannot believe people still. Bill Maher's one of those people. I read the paper. I read the paper every day. I read 3 papers a day. You ever hear someone say that? I read 3 papers a day. I've heard people say that, including Bill Maher. I read 3 papers every day. Yeah, and that means you're extra propagandized because you don't read it skeptically. You don't read it critically. Have you never been? If you've ever been the center of a news story, you know how the news is just made up, how it's all propaganda. And that's why I have a show like this. Barack Obama deported more people than any other president. People memory hold this. People don't want to know this. Deportation lower under Trump administration than the Obama. When was this? That was in November 18th, 2019. Deportations lower under Trump than under Obama. What? Jimmy, huh? I'm super informed. So while the Obama administration deported 1.18 million people in his first 3 years, the number of deportations has been a little under 800,000 under Trump's first 3 years. The Obama administration also deported 409,849 people in 2012 alone, while the Trump administration has yet to deport more than 260,000 people in a single year. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? So here is, but when Barack Obama takes a kid away and deports them home separately, it's because he wants to lighten your burden. That's because he loves people so much. Sort of the way someone loves pizza, if you know what I'm talking about. Here's how Chuck Schumer, by the way, here's the master of the graft, Chuck Schumer, showing us how well the implants are taking on the top of his head. So here's how Chuck Schumer used to talk about illegal immigration. You want to hear how he used to talk about illegal immigration?
American people are fundamentally pro-legal immigration and anti-illegal immigration. Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. Until the American people are convinced that we will stop future flows of illegal immigration, we will make no progress on dealing with the millions of illegal immigrants who are here now and on rationalizing our system of legal immigration. It's plain and simple and unavoidable. When we use phrases like undocumented workers, we convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the American people overwhelmingly oppose. If you don't think it's illegal, you're not going to say it. I think it is illegal and wrong, and we have to change it.
You remember when everyone just memory holds that? That was the leader of the Democratic Party. But when Trump became president, they had to find a way to demonize him. So they just said, hey, everybody forget what we've been saying about illegal immigration, and now let's pretend Trump is a racist because of what he's saying about illegal immigration, even though he's saying exactly what we've been saying, even though he's going to go on to deport less people than Barack Obama. It's a fun pretend made up news story.
Yeah, you should have.
So, do you remember when? Here's Martha's Vineyard. Remember when 50, not 50,000, like 50 Venezuelan migrants arrived on Martha's Vineyard in 2022. Do you remember what happened? Remember this?
So,
what are the most difficult challenges right now?
The difficult challenges are we have, at some point in time, they have to move from here to somewhere else, right?
Well, at some point, they have to move from here to some. They can't be here. We're rich. What's the point of having money if you got to have these migrants all around you? 50 people they couldn't handle. The richest people in the country couldn't handle 50 migrants. 50. They're like, they got to get the hell out of here. And you know every one of these MFers votes Democrat. That's where Barack Obama, does he not have a house on Martha's Vineyard?
I thought he did. How many acres, too?
I think he has a 48-acre estate. Check it out. I know it cost him $12 or $13 million. I think he bought it from the guy who used to own an NBA basketball team. So this is where Barack Obama hangs out. This is where all the liberals hang out. 50 migrants show up from Venezuela. Hey, look, we're all good people, but they got to get the hell out of here. 50. Did you find out?
Yeah, I'm trying to find how much it's. 30 acres, I saw.
30 acres? 30 acres.
11.75 million.
So Barack Obama, $12 million house on 30 acres in Martha's Vineyard. And they send 50 migrants there.
We don't have the services to take care of 50 immigrants. And we certainly don't have housing. We're in a housing crisis as we are on this island. And so we can't house everyone here that lives here and works here. We don't have housing for 50 more people.
By the way, it's about 6,900 square feet, the home.
His home. I wonder how many air conditioners. So he doesn't care about global warming. How many air conditioners do you think he has? I'm going to say at least 3 gigantic ones.
You know, the home boasts 7 bedrooms and 8.5 bathrooms. I think there's plenty. 50 people could have stayed there
50 people
easily.
could stay there. Sure. 3 people a bedroom. And then the rest sleep in the garage. I'm sure he's got a guest house. Trump deported 200 Colombians. None were criminals, Colombian officials say. So that's from yesterday. So White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said at a briefing Tuesday that the administration considers all immigrants who are in the United States illegally to be criminals. They illegally broke our nation's laws, and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes, she said, calling the declaration a big culture shift in our nation. Deportation, though, is a civil, not criminal proceeding.
It's pretty much what Hillary Clinton was saying.
So
they broke the law. They should pay a fine if they end up staying here.
So, what I've been able to ascertain is that the Trump administration is targeting people who have committed crimes beyond entering the country illegally. But here they got 200 Colombians. None were criminals. Well, that's what the Colombian officials say. How do we know? How do they know if they committed crimes in the United States? How would they know? That's the Washington Post. Is that the Washington Post doing propaganda? I don't know. You tell me, because that's all they do. Among the deportees who arrived back home Tuesday in Colombia were 2 pregnant women and more than 20 children. Well, maybe they didn't want to separate the children from their parents. Should they have separated them? I'm just showing you that all of a sudden it's bad to be against illegal immigration. All of a sudden. Why? Because they have to find a way to oppose Donald Trump, even though it's about something that they also agreed with him on just 5 seconds ago. Because they're not going to disagree with him on economic policy. They're not. They're not, because they're all servants to Wall Street. That's why they had no problem with his Treasury Secretary, who's a George Soros puppet. And MAGA also didn't go crazy over that, which they should have. His Treasury Secretary, Donald Trump's, is a George Soros puppet. George Soros errand boy, and both sides loved him. You know who else loved him? Wall Street. Because they both serve Wall Street. They don't serve workers. Okay, hope that's clear. I hope that's clear to people. So my rule of thumb on Donald Trump's nominees is if all the horrible people in the world are against them, then they have to be a threat to the establishment somewhere, just like with RFK Jr. The same thing with Hegseth, even though by a lot of metrics, Hegseth looks like a maniac. The fact that the other maniacs, the pro-war maniac liars, were against him tells me that he was somehow a threat. Then definitely the same thing with Tulsi Gabbard. Now, has Tulsi Gabbard switched her stances on things like for Israel? Yes. Yet they still oppose her. So it can't be because of AIPAC. Is it because, why, she supports Edward Snowden? What is it? Is it because she opposes the regime change wars? What is it? Something. Got to be something. I know my good friend Jose Vega asks the same questions. He's like, well, when all the most horrible warmongers in the world are opposed to someone, that makes me think there's something to this person. And I agree with Jose Vega. And that does not mean Tulsi Gabbard is perfect. That does not mean she doesn't have huge flaws, or that she hasn't flip-flopped on things that are huge, like Israel and Palestine. But it also doesn't mean, but it also could mean that she's a threat to the establishment in a way that we haven't had a DNI person be a threat in my lifetime. So those two things can be true. Okay, so I guess we're going to go to Rumble now.
We sure are.
And we're going to cover
Jimmy.
now we're going to cover the RFK hearings. And Candace Owens went scorched earth on RFK Jr.'s cousin, Caroline Kennedy. Wait till you see it. See us over at Rumble.